All right, so quick little video just because I haven't done one in a few days. I think I did one on Saturday, or no, Sunday, because I reacted to Pereira winning the belt again. But what I wanted to talk about is I've felt a lot of like mental peace the last 2 days, and I think it's just because I read a quote by Carl Jung, who, if you don't know who that is, he's a famous psychologist, one of the greatest psychologists in the history of psychology. I sound like fucking Trump. He's one of the greatest psychologists ever in the history of psychology. Like, he was Sigmund Freud's disciple, but he was actually better than Freud because he just took Freud's ideas further and didn't make everything about sex. But the quote by Jung is, he was actually critiquing Nietzsche. And Nietzsche has a lot of good theories about stuff that, you know, that life is hard and life is a struggle and you have to fight against that struggle. You have to become strong. You have to become strong-willed. But his criticism of Nietzsche was just that he was like very theoretical and very like kind of cynical about the world because he didn't actually like have a family. Like, he didn't have a wife, he didn't have kids, and so a lot of his thoughts on the world were just based off of his own like opinions about shit when he hadn't actually really like lived. And Carl Jung basically said like, hey, I had a wife, I had 5 kids that I had to provide for, and that basically colored my whole view of the world. Whereas Nietzsche was just constantly lost in his own thoughts because he didn't actually have to provide for anyone. And I kind of had this realization that like being a man, transitioning from a boy into a man, is really just about, you know, making yourself responsible for other people. Because as a man, if you think about it, your only goal is to really provide for your family. And you don't even necessarily have to have a family, but you have to provide for people. There's something in the male psyche where you have to be like important. You have to be wanted by a specific group of people, you know, or just somebody. Like, if you show up to work, or if you don't show up to work one day, or you don't show up to just a specific thing, it's going to be a problem because they actually need you there. You're responsible for this specific group of people. And it got me thinking, like, a lot of the advice you get online is really just about satisfying your own ego. It's about, you know, my goals, my dreams, my mental health. That's basically all anybody talks about, is just me. Like, you know, my dreams, my aspirations. And in my opinion, the more you think about yourself, the more miserable you become. I mean, that's driven by data. That's driven by, they've done studies on this, that the more that people talk about themselves, the more miserable that they are. And so I think the goal really should be to invest in something that's bigger than yourself. Invest in something that is outside of your own ego and outside of your own aspirations, something that's bigger than yourself, something that can actually help other people. I think that that's really what I feel I should gear my purpose towards, instead of just having these fantasies and these daydreams that are really just designed to like stroke my own ego. I should invest in something that is actually going to benefit other people and is going to, in turn, cause me to think less about myself, which is actually going to give me what I want, which is, you know, happiness, health, wealth. Like, if you kind of get what you put into the world, or you get what you give, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. If you provide a service that people actually want and value, you will make money. If you are a fun person to be around and you're a good person, you will make friends. It's just a matter of like finding a way to show that to people. And so I think that's what I've realized these last few days. Is just I need to concentrate less on myself and concentrate more on what my life's purpose is and what I can do to try to make the world better. All right, so that's it. Thanks.